Okay, welcome. My name is Diane. I'm originally from Syracuse, New York, but I live in Boston, Massachusetts now. I am a C6 quad. I was injured in July of 2020, and I'm part of the Kelly Brush family and really excited to just be facilitating these conversations. We started um, these conversations in April of this year. The Kelly Brush Foundation, in collaboration with the United Spinal Association, started this virtual discussion group focused on adaptive sports and recreation. And this group meets bi-weekly, every other Tuesday at 5:30. And the hope is that it just provides a platform for adaptive sports enthusiasts to engage in lively discussions about various recreational activities, this week being adaptive sailing. And to enrich these conversations, we ask experts to offer their insight in the form of question and answers or presentations, storytelling, panelists. I've talked to many of you personally, and I really appreciate you all being here to share your knowledge and to get more people with disabilities out on the water. A little bit about some background of sailing. It wasn't until the mid 1980s that sailing began to be adapted for people with spinal or people with disabilities, with the first international sailing regatta for athletes with disabilities held in Switzerland. To make sailing possible for people with paralysis and other disabilities, there's a variety of adaptive equipment that was created, from specialized seats to adding hoyer lifts to the dock. By 1988, the International Handicap Sailing Committee was formed, and in 1991, the International Sailing Federation recognized the organization. By 1996, adaptive sailing, also known as parasailing, made its first appearance at the Paralympic Games. And at the in 2000 Sydney Paralympic Games, it was an official sport. Later on, we might have a Paralympic sailor, Bradley Johnson, come join us to talk a little bit about his experience in the Paralympics. But adaptive sailing in the last 20 years has really exploded, with several organizations and nonprofits around the US offering adaptive sailing. So please have questions ready to engage and share experiences and discover new possibilities. As we go around, I'd like to just allow everyone to introduce themselves. And so please jump in with questions or comments that people bring up. Feel free to answer those questions. This is meant to be a discussion, so just, again, jump right in, raise your hand or not, write questions in the chat, and I'll continue to monitor those. So yeah, whatever's easiest. But before we get started, what you're looking at right now is our active project. So this is Kelly Brush's Foundation's digital resource for adaptive sports and recreation. So it really is a resource to discover sports, discover adaptive sports, find places to try them, connect with peers. We have informational videos on dozens of sports. We have hundreds of organizations that are in their events. There's forums, there's messaging, there's equipment information, and a lot more. We do not yet have a sailing page, but that's where I would love to get your input and make a sailing page. I do want to just like briefly show you maybe a page that we do have up and running. Our basketball page here, just to give an example and show you kind of what it would look like. So you bring up the basketball page, gives you a little overview. As you scroll down, there's different equipment information, different chair options, and then links to learn more. As I said, instructional videos, basic transfers. So sailing here, transferring on and off the dock, what different configurations are possible, hoyer lifts, sip and puff. And then one of my favorite features of this platform is once you do create a profile, individuals can find others that are also interested in said sport, and look for people to go out playing basketball with or go out sailing with. Also, your organization can pop up on here. So people can find out what organizations are in their area if they want to get involved. So the organizations are the little blue houses, and then individual people are the yellow people. So that is just kind of what that would look like. I would, again, love it if I'll follow up with you guys to get some information about your organization, to get your organization on this platform. And we would just need some basic info like your name, address, description, the sports you offer, any links that you would want, photos, things like that. Definitely work in progress, but we want to make it as complete as possible. So with that, I'm going to pass it off to one of the oldest adaptive sailing organizations that we have here today, the Chesapeake Region Accessible Boating, or CRAB, founded in 1989 by Don Back, a man who was paralyzed. Big fan of sailing and went on to found this legendary adaptive sailing organization headquartered in Annapolis, Maryland. So before I pass it off, just again, a reminder, we want to keep this conversational, open discussion. No such thing as a dumb question or comment. You know, when you decide to show up authentically and unapologetically, you encourage others to do the same. So, which always allows for a more meaningful and productive conversation. So with that, I'm gonna pass it off to Matt from the Chesapeake Region Accessible Boating. Hi, Matt. Could you please introduce yourself and maybe give us a little background on your organization?
Thank you very much. Yes, I'm Matt Schaff with Crab or Chesapeake Region Accessible Boating. And for over 30 years, we've been getting people out on the Chesapeake Bay on our fleet of boats. Right now, we have a fleet of 6 Beneteau First 22 A's. The A is for adaptive sailboats, where they've been customized for our use with actually race car seatings in there with 4-point race car harnesses. And we can get guests onto the boats with either a transfer slide or a lift, similar to a Hoyer lift for the boats. And we get out. Last year, we took out over 1,200 people on those boats. And then new this year, we added a 39-foot power catamaran that is rigged out with a ramp where wheelchairs users can roll right on it. And I was just out on it before this, taking some guest fishing. Had 4 wheelchair users out and their family or friend with them as well. And we caught each person caught several fish. So it was a good day out there. Beautiful day here in Annapolis. We also have a small Martin 16 sailboat that has a joystick or sip and puff system in there. As you guys are familiar with those, but that controls the boat for that. Last March, we opened our new center, the Adaptive Boating Center here in Annapolis. And before that, we were out of Sandy Point State Park at the base of the Chesapeake Bay Bridge. And we were just outgrowing that. We wanted to be able to grow programs and everything. So we started about 6 years ago to this new center. And it's our own marina, learning center with the, learning center inside and big classroom and offices and outdoor, beautiful park-like outdoor space, pavilion, picnic tables, all kinds of things outside and for all our boats and all of that. So it's allowed us to add wellness programs inside, such as chair yoga or a musical program for autism, children with autism, and remote control sailing we're doing now, which has been a huge hit. About 30-inch long boats that are sailing out off our docks, and just a very, very neat program. It's been a bigger hit than we thought it would be. Kind of one guy wanted to get it started, and we did. And we do all this with a full-time staff of 4 and about 180 volunteers. Volunteers, every sailboat that goes out has a volunteer skipper and a volunteer crew on board that are getting the boat out there with the goal of getting the guests to sail the boat if they choose, if they're able to, and get the tiller in their hands and have them do it. But some just want a nice tranquil ride out on the water, which is okay as well for that. We also have 4 regattas a year that are our 6 boats, all with skippers with disabilities at the helm. And then our biggest one is coming up. The Crab Cup is our annual big fundraiser event and race that is our 6 boats and then about 90 other boats out on the bay. So it's a big race for the higher level skippers that are with us to get them out there for that. Afterwards is a party at the Eastport Yacht Club with about 500 guests at that normally. So other than that, we have about 6 part-time fleet directors that are the ones that are driving our chase boat out when all the sailboats are out, something like that. So it's, we keep very busy and all fun, all good, great, wonderful responses from everybody all the time. We all have great stories to tell of why we do this, and it's such an honor to do it, to be able to get people out and to see their reactions, their family members' reactions, their caregivers, and things like that. It's really wonderful.
Thank you. And is everything, what's funding like for you guys, and how much is it for people to come sailing with you?
Zippy.
Wow.
Yeah, it's free for all of our guests. We get grants and private donors and foundations and things like that for the funding. We'll do programs like tomorrow we have with the county police, kids from underserved neighborhoods. We're taking out for 2 days for a little camp, so they'll learn to sail for a day and a half, and then the second afternoon we'll have a little race for them. We out racing boats and all. So, very, very exciting program. We do that 2 different camps with the county police, and then 2 different camps with the city police as well. So, and it's free we get grants for those from the county and city to run those, but all our other programs are different grants and funding that we're doing for it. So our center is a 100% ADA compliant inside and out on the docks. Everywhere else, above and beyond in many areas where the docks are wider than what's required and things like that. So.
Incredible. Yeah, you talked a lot about different configurations and adaptations. We have Tim Brown on the call, who
This meeting is being recorded.
Oh, that's ours.
we have Tim Brown on the call from Boston, Massachusetts, who does a lot of sailing at Piers Park Sailing. And I'd like him to, hey Tim, how are you?
I'm well. How are you, Diane?
I'm good, thanks. Bring up your page here. Let's see if I can do this correctly. But I'd love to pass it over to you, Tim, and maybe you can talk a little bit more about different adaptations that I know specifically Piers Park does. And I have some pictures that will help with some visuals.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, Diane. It's good to see a bunch of familiar faces on this call. So just a quick background. I'm C4, C5 spinal cord injury. I was paralyzed 13 years ago. I had never really sailed before my paralysis, and then I moved into Boston about 10 years ago and just Googled adaptive sailing and found out that Piers Park Sailing Center in East Boston is right down the street from me. So I just got in touch with them, and they said, come on down, and fell in love with sailing through that. And now I race a bit whenever I can, and sail around the harbor and go out on Impossible Dream when I have the chance to. And yeah, just totally fall in love with it. So when it comes to adaptive equipment, we have a few different things there. I use a chair that's just like strapped into, so I sail sonars. They're a 23-foot keel boat, and I am always the skipper. And we have a seat that's pretty simple. It's made out of plywood and PVC piping. We just strap it down right behind the traveler, so kind of like in the middle of the cockpit. Sonar has a larger cockpit, so strap that down. I sit in it. I hook one arm around the back of the chair, and then I just use an active hand strap to strap my hand to the tiller and steer the boat that way. So that works for me. I don't have any hand dexterity, but I have enough arm strength and shoulder strength that I can steer the tiller. So that's what I use. We have, and I have also used in other boats, like a tractor steering setup. So you're sitting more center line in the boat, and great because you're using both arms, and you're not only facing to one side of the boat. I've used that on a Martin 16, which is a smaller keel boat that's specifically for adaptive sailors, double-handed boat. And then I don't know, Diana, if you can like pull up some of the images that you have on the website, but that might be, the visual might be helpful.
Oh yeah, can you see it right now or no?
I can't, but other people can. Okay, great. So then the other thing that I know a lot of other adaptive sailors use is they have bars that kind of go from one side of the boat to the other, and that helps them transfer. If they're the skipper or their crew and they're physically able to transfer themselves to one side or the other, they can do that with bars that help them sort of slide across. And I know I've heard of some adaptations where a person will have a seat that's also on kind of like a track, and they swing back and forth, so they're always, on the presumably the windward side of the boat when they're sailing. And yeah, I know some of the Paralympians use that, so I don't know if we'll have those folks joining us later on that you mentioned, Diane. But that's kind of a quick rundown, I guess, from my knowledge of adaptive equipment. But I know there's a lot out there, and a lot of sailing centers are really crafty with setting stuff up, just using, again, any kind of supplies you'd find at a hardware store, and making it so you can get out on the water and like feel safe even when it's blowing a bit and the boat starts heeling. You can still feel nice and comfortable and secure.
Yes, I often use I sail at Piers Park Sailing as well. Just kind of followed Tim's footsteps. He got me involved there, and whenever I go, I always use your setup. So I appreciate that, Tim, for creating that. It was just kind of, I think we use they have two setups, but one of them is the plastic chair setup, and then I think the other one is with like the
the tractor steering.
Thank you.
Tractor steering, and then they have a boat with the bars going across. And I should also, one that I left out is, I know a lot of sailing centers have sip and puff too. So for folks who may not be able to use their arms to steer the boat or engage with sailing, there are a lot of organizations that have a sip and puff setup as well. And then one more is also a servo. So it's like a joystick. So if you drive your drive a power chair with your hand and you want to steer the boat that way, there are plenty of centers that that can set you up with a little joystick that just connects to a motor that can be that can be used for the sails or for the tiller or for both. So lots of options to make sailing accessible for everyone.
Definitely. And Tim, you said you do some races too. Where do you usually is that in Boston, or do you travel to do those?
Yeah, we have at Piers Park, we do Thursday night racing throughout the summer. So that's fun. Mostly, I'm one of the fewer adaptive sailors in that, so just racing against other sailing center members. But that's a lot of fun. It's just going out on Thursday night doing, 3 to 5 quick races on the harbor. But I would say my favorite place to race is down in Newport. I race every year with the Claggett Sailing organization. They have their Claggett Regatta, which is always the last weekend in June. It's adaptive sailing regatta, so you have people with all kinds of disabilities showing up there and racing against each other, and it's just an awesome environment. Super competitive, but they do clinic days beforehand, so you learn a lot, and you have some of the best sailing coaches in the country. Not just adaptive, just best sailing coaches period are there, and you learn a ton from them. So Claggett Sailing in Newport, super cool organization, and I love going to their regattas.
Well, David just typed in the chat that he can count him in for next race.
I'll see you there, David.
And
probably will show up there too, but we'll see.
And speaking of, yes, so we got David and Mark on the call from the Impossible Dream that Tim has sailed on, and I've sailed on the Impossible Dream too, an incredible vessel. Hey guys, how are you?
How's it going? Hey.
Thanks for coming.
Just real quick on the mic check, we're sharing the same audio device. Can you hear both of us okay? Say something.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear David?
And me too?
Yep.
Sweet.
All right, cool. Hey. So hi everybody.
We're coming live from Provincetown.
Provincetown,
sorry. It's my first time here.
Yeah, and then we're gonna do a passage starting tomorrow over to Boston to see the Boston crew and start our programming with Spalding Rehab for the week.
Love it. Could you give us a little what is the Impossible Dream for people who don't know?
Sure. It's a 60-foot sailing catamaran, and we travel from Miami to Maine every summer. So we do programming out of Miami and South Florida for about 7 months of the year. And then for 5 months of the year, we sail from Miami to Maine and back. And we partner with over 20 hospitals, rehabilitation organizations, disability activism organizations. And this is our 10th year doing it. So it's grown from maybe 3 or 5 ports the first summer to over 20, and we take about 1,800 people sailing every year. So it's gone from Deborah's dream 10 plus years ago to a robust organization where I feel like we're continuing to reach out further and further and further. So it's great.
We
happy to participate.
We also supply guest crew aboard, where I know Diane here is coming aboard pretty soon for about a week. David's on board for 2 weeks.
Tim's gonna jump on board.
Gonna jump on board. So we provide opportunity for liveaboards with spinal cord injuries to join us and feel the power of the water and understand that this can also be your home as well on the water. And it's a beautiful thing. And we are expanding that. We have 2 to 3 new guest crew coming aboard later in the fall. So that'll be fun to kind of get them out of their comfort zone and show them the ways of a sailor, if you will, out in the open water. And we have parts in our journey where we're 200 to 100 miles offshore, and it's just the 5 or 6 of us, and we don't see land for 3 days, and that can really inspire and I think change your perspective on a lot of things. I know it did for me, and I know it did for David as well. So we really like to bring that opportunity to more people within the future here.
Yeah, I think that when you experience something like that, the sense of accomplishment can lead to so many other things where, we're not trying to like train sailors or anything like that, but providing the experience of being out on the water might, light a fire within others to, inspire and believe in themselves and whatever trajectory it is that they're taking in life.
We were in Greenport 2 weeks ago, and we had this awesome guy named Andy. It's actually on our Instagram, and he came out. He's never been on a powerboat. He's never been on a sailboat, and he basically broke it down to me and the captain, which is the crew on board, and saying, this really inspired me to not just say, "Oh, I can't do that," but to think about an opportunity to figure out how to get it done. And I did a little interview with him to have it repeated, and the message was just so powerful. It was so awesome to hear, and that's what we're really trying to show and accomplish day by day, living aboard this vessel.
Well, and I'm going to speak on that because I think it's really important for people to have that experience, and usually it's the patients who are the initial ones. But every time we take people sailing, we offer up a +1 for that person with the disability. So it could be a therapist, it could be a nurse, it could be a spouse, it could be a sibling, it could be a parent, and as a result of them also being on the boat, then there's conversations happening between 2 siblings about, oh, my younger brother still wants to go to college, or 2 different spouses talking about intimacy or things like that post injury, or parents talking about how to navigate the insurance world, which I know everybody thinks is incredible, heavy thing to bear. So the boat just becomes a conduit at that point to put like-minded individuals together and spark some ideas amongst us.
One more example of that space is we were in Jersey City, and we were doing a tour with recent disabled wheelchair users, and it was a younger guy and his mentor, and we were pretty much created a space around the Statue of Liberty to have them talk about different ways to utilize your wheelchair and different ways to get over this obstacle and that obstacle. And we saw the togetherness that they would maybe have to go way out of their way to get, and I think the Impossible Dream is a space where that collaboration can happen between mentor and mentee. It's really cool.
I agree, and it's not just on the water, because every port that we pull into, and Crab is a wonderful example of this in terms of amazing accessibility. So thank you, hats off to you, Matt, big time. And we're in P-Town now, and it's owned by the same family that owns Charlestown Marina, the Legacies. And every single year that we've been up this way, they have accepted our feedback and made improvements. And it's, I just got in last night and crossed this barrier that used to be this big steel thing. It was just like a steel ledge with nasty lips on each side, and now it's this nice paved, smooth slope that a skateboarder would love to skate on. And I'm like, wow, that's a game changer for a lot of people. And every single place we pull into, we can, in a positive way, provide feedback like, oh, this is a challenge. if it were thought about to be, designed in this manner, it'd be better for us. And then lo and behold, a couple of years later, it's there. So I think it's important to us when we're on land as well. And just in terms of like social activities, if you see, this double amputee and a quad and a couple paras with, three able-bodied people kind of bouncing into a restaurant, it's kind of, we make a bit of a spectacle, and the teamwork and the camaraderie and the can-do attitude, if you will, that we kind of exude, I think is really important for people to like, instead of looking at us like, oh man, this sucks, these people are all disabled, versus,
Right.
oh my God, these guys are out here like crushing it.
Right. I think one more thing to add to what Dave was saying earlier is we really try to preach universal design. So especially on this boat, and making that edge smooth, not only helps him, but it helps me, right? Getting the fenders down in such a wide alley right at the edge of the boat, like, makes my job so much easier. And we really try to preach, even the marinas and everywhere we go, that universal design can not only benefit somebody in a wheelchair, but also someone like me. And I think it's a beautiful thing.
No excuses for parents not doing their dishes.
Yeah, you got that right. You got to dry too. Remember that.
Sure, you don't want to
That's
add
in a
anything else?
nutshell.
Do you want to add anything else?
No, I think we're good.
Who's that?
It's the Hadleys.
Shad Bronson.
What up, boys?
What's up?
Is
We're
my
late to the party,
video?
amigo.
Is my
There's that
video?
Paralympian.
Here, mute our stuff.
All right.
Is there
All
video?
right, we're gonna mute. Uh-oh, what happened?
No.
What did
Well,
I do?
I love
Yeah.
hearing you guys talk about the impossible dream. It's truly like I was on it like probably the first summer after my injury, and it just gave me like so much hope, really saw a future for myself that wasn't like, sick and disabled. It was one of like empowerment and just like badass like people and community. So love what you guys are doing, and it just like you guys are continuously expanding, and it's really, really cool to see and be a part of. And one other thing, like I think I remember, David, you said this in an interview one time, that like when you're on the dream, you really like forget that you're even in a wheelchair. And I think that whenever I am on that boat, it just is like it just does feel like home, that like it's completely accessible. And then to your point, like when you're going on the docks, they're listening to you. So you're oh, hey, Captain Will.
El Capitan making a cameo. We got the audio in our ears, but
Yeah.
just said what's up.
Okay.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, I'm certain he has things to say.
I appreciate you saying that, Diane, because that's really what it's about. If it's just a breath of glimmer of hope, breath of fresh air, especially for people that are more newly injured. I think it's really important that the OGs, or if you will, can be like, hey, this can be done, because I felt the same experience when I got to start sailing at Shake a Leg, as well as when the dream came to town. So it's a beautiful mission to share with others.
Hey, Macaulay.
What up, dog? Yes, sir.
Remember a moment about the Pelican clips?
Pelican clips. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it safe for work, Bradley?
On the stern, on the stern, when we were talking, and it was your first time you were feeling the boat out. And we had a little
the cable's in the back.
I remember that growth, that huge growth, from saying that you couldn't do it to holy crap, I can't. Remember pulling the we changed something around, and that's all it was. It was perspective, and you were able to just put the finger in and pop it open, which you thought you couldn't do.
Right.
I remember that and talk about that as an eye-opening experience for all of us.
It really is, and I think that speaks to, again, the universal design, because if we can do things with our oven mitts that we have for hands, um, and and remain independent, then it's empowering for us. And whether it's the snapping the pelican clips together, or assist in sailing of the boat, or tying off a line, it's all it's all every little bit of it that you can do independently without assistance is empowering. And then when you have a captain and a mate on board that kind of knows, like, he can hold that part down, I got this over here, and it all works coherently. There's this beautiful flow that happens.
Absolutely. Bradley, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes.
I know.
So,
Yeah.
well, I'm driving at the moment. I don't know. My video, I'm assuming, is not on.
It is not, no.
Okay, okay. I'm Bradley Johnson. I too am a sailor. I am a two-time Paralympic sailor, bronze medal in sonar class, and I've been sailing since 2000. I didn't grow up sailing. I learned sailing in Miami, at Shake a Leg, Miami. I'm a bilateral leg amputee, one below and one above. My how I have a little bit to add to this. What I have is my captains have all been, excuse me, quads. They've all been quadriplegics, and we raced. We're very competitive against able-bodied crew as well, and it's in the sonar class boat where the boat was on a track. I mean, not the boat. I'm sorry. The seat for my captain was on a track, sort of like a U-shaped track, and I didn't need any assistance with any changes other than maybe a bar across the width of the boat. And my other teammate was partially blind, or legally blind. My captain drove the boat. Both of my captains drove. One drove with his arms. We were able to rig a system that he could use the tiller to steer normally. And my second captain, we had a different system which entailed pedals on think about a bike pedal, the setup for the gear, where his hands, like a erg machine. I think, Diane, you know what I'm talking about, right? What you use for practice,
Yeah.
right? Okay, like an erg machine. That was how he steered the boat. We had that connected to lines that went down his chair and to the stern of the boat, to the tiller, and attached to the tiller. So he'd just have to do a little movement forward or a little movement back, depending on his direction that he wanted to travel. And we were very successful with those. And I know that there are many organizations around that have taken up or obtained the schematics for that type of system. And if not, I know the engineer who developed that system. And if anyone needed it, to get into a boat, which would be it would have to be a larger boat, like a 20-foot boat, maybe a 16. We could put you in contact with that person, and I'm sure there's people that would help construct it. And or you can go Shake a Leg Miami, or I think there's one up north. There's I'm not sure of the organizations up north, except there's one in Boston. Diane, if you could help me with that. I don't know. I can't think of it.
With Piers Park Sailing.
Pierce Park, yes, Pierce Park. I'm aware that Pierce Park, they also may have the same setup, so that you may get out and try it. You don't necessarily have to be just crew. You can actually learn to steer, drive the boat, and you just need crew in order to transfer. You don't want to get stuck on the low side. You know, I'm sorry. So yeah, that was one of my additions. I don't know. Any question? I don't. That was a. Yeah, that's what I have. Any question?
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, any questions for Bradley or for anyone that shared for Crab, for Impossible Dream?
I have a question. You guys keep talking about the Sonar 23, which I just started racing this summer. I'm a member of Annapolis Yacht Club, and they got 14 of them. And so I'm using one of those in our Friday night races here. That's a Paralympic sailboat. Is that kind of universal for that?
Well, it was. Unfortunately, the sailing was pulled from the Paralympics
Oh,
in 2016, but I know we have been trying desperately to get it back in. It's just a matter of more countries around the world actually sailing. And it's they've been trying, all the powers that be have been trying to locate and find a boat that's economically feasible, and minimal repairs and can transport easily. And for a poor country, they want access. They want to give them access as well, or even for a wealthy country, but the people are poor
yeah, right.
that want to sail it, because being a quad is very expensive. So I know that just I'm an amputee and it's very expensive.
Sure. Yeah.
So that is what boat they actually have in it. When I'm keeping my fingers crossed, when they actually reinstate the Paralympic sailing, I don't know yet, but there's a lot of boats out there.
Yeah.
There's Martin 16, I believe, if you've seen those at all.
Right. We have
And
one of
those are
those. Yeah. Yeah.
and Martin 16s, it's easy to get. There's no movement needed for a para or a quad. You're sat in the boat and everything is in front of you. You can rig everything as however you would prefer to have it. Whichever if your left arm was stronger than your right, everything could be rigged over towards the left side. Whatever works for you.
Great. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Ed, I saw your hand up.
Yeah, I had questions for David, but it looks like he's gone. Going to be
David, are you still there?
No, they're there.
going to be sailing on the Impossible Dream next Monday out of Boston.
Yeah, we're still here. Sorry about that.
We'll see you there.
I was wondering who was going to be on the boat.
In Boston,
will
what
be.
day are you going to be?
Bradley?
What day will you get?
Yeah. He
What's
said
that?
Monday, David. Monday.
Monday, yeah, the
Monday.
29th, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I think Bradley's going to be up here. Harry Horgan's going to be here. Diane's going to be around, I think, later in the week. I think what she said earlier today. Captain Will, Mark, my girlfriend Lily's going to be here the first half of the week. I think that might be the Boston crew.
Is it my understanding that you're in a chair? Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm a C6 quad.
I'm a C3, C4 myself. I'm just really curious to see what role you play on on the boat because
Yeah.
I'm really intrigued by the ability to pursue this interest.
Oh, it's fantastic. You're really gonna dig it, Ed. I'm trying
I
to.
can tell you that when we're racing, David's one of the better helmspersons. I think he was even better than Brad, actually.
So, so, so you have it set up so you can you have it set up so you can
Oh,
get a chair to the helm.
Yeah, actually, here, you grab the phone. Sorry, that's what was taking me earlier to unmute the mic so long. I got,
Oh, this is sweet.
obviously I got quad hands. So you can see where my knees are.
Yeah.
Some people with that aren't quite as long can get their knees underneath there, or you can take them off
Yeah.
the foot plate, throw them on the ground. Helm is obviously, it's acceptable. I don't have a great grip, but you still have the wheel. There's ways to manipulate it, right? And you drive, and then everything over here are navigation screens, but this is like push button sailing. So if
I
you
was going
literally
to
want to
ask,
steer,
how do you trim your sails? So you have that all controls for all that in the cabin?
yeah, exactly.
helm?
So
Wow.
Captain Will's got the phone. He's pointing to you right now how he's operating the winch. That's how you trim the jibs. Those are on either side, and then here you can actually steer. If you are unable to use the wheel, you can push button sail over here. This is the autopilot, so you can
Use the
literally
autopilot.
steer.
Cool.
Yeah, or you can move the rudder and for 3 degrees, 10 degrees in that direction according to the
So
compass.
you've been into Boston before. You know it's a pretty long trip from
It's a
the
very long
Graves
trip
into
coming
the
in.
harbor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are we going to get under full sail out in the ocean, or do we have enough time?
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure which sail. Typically on the day sails, we kind of we'll just throw the jib out and do a bit of, we'll probably motor sail, and it's more of like a little tour. We go south and cross from Charlestown over to the north end, scoot around by, I don't know if that's South Boston or at least the South Shore, by like ICA in that area, out towards Castle Island. And then if time is permitting, depending on the wind and our speed, we'll go out a little bit further and then, come back in along East Boston and right in front of like Nantucket and where Tim Brown lives.
It also depends on conditions and number of people.
Yeah. Any room in the wheelhouse for a passenger?
In the wheelhouse?
You mean like for an extended period?
Just to come in and check it out while we're underway.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You could drive the boat if you want.
Oh yeah.
Oh sweet. Absolutely. And I have a captain's license, so I was a charter boat captain before my injury. So
you're hired.
Definitely handle driving the boat.
There you go. That's awesome. Oh yeah, we've got all types of people that have gotten up here to steer the boat, and these chairs move. So
yeah, I'm looking at the setup behind you. That's an amazing vessel.
Yeah. Besides you, Ed, everybody else on the calls been on board before?
I don't know.
I mean, if not, I love barking orders at Mark, the first mate. We can hand him the phone. He could go give a little 30-second tour, run around the boat. You guys want to see it?
I'm Bruce. I'm
telling me sailing like a Joey. He left his fenders out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm Bruce from Horizon Sailing.
I think that's a good idea, though. Give him the phone, give him your phone, and let him walk around the boat and show him the inside, show him everything.
You guys want a quick tour?
Sure thing. We got Bruce on the call. Sorry. Hey Bruce, have you been on?
Hi Beth. Hi to Captain Will. I'm Bruce.
Hey Bruce, how are you?
Good. How are you?
There's an echo, Bruce.
Yeah.
There's an echo, Bruce.
I think you're signed. I think you signed in twice, Bruce.
Okay.
Because I see you on two different screens. I think that's why the echo.
Yeah,
Okay,
it
let me,
looks like he's on two different devices or two different
um,
accounts.
let me see how if I can fix that.
Dang, somebody's on
Rock and
mustard.
roll, baby.
I'm just gonna move for now.
Are we moving? Not yet.
That's a tricky one.
How's that? No, no good.
Let's see. I can turn off one of your videos if you want me to try doing that.
Can you kick one of them out?
Yeah.
Yeah, do that.
There you go.
Hey, how's that?
I kick them
Much
both
more
out?
better.
Okay,
Oh, there we
Much
go.
better.
okay. So say hi to Captain Will. And I'm Bruce from the Horizons Sailing in Maine. And we've done a
Hey,
program.
Bruce.
Hey, Will, and I've met David before.
Yes, sir.
He has been up to Maine several times. And we've had some great sails. Been a lot of fun. So we run a full adaptive sailing program. I was listening to Matt earlier. I'm sorry, I joined later, so I missed the beginning, but very similar program with our equipment. And we have a chair. We sail J22s. We have one boat set up with a chair that actually was designed by Gene Hinkle. And we installed that last year. It's on a gimbal and it's been really popular and worked out really well. And again, we're looking forward to seeing Captain Will in a couple weeks in Maine. And we've had a long relationship, and sailing now on that boat is incredible. We love it.
Just to interject, Gene Hinkle was one of the engineers that I was referring to earlier when I talked about that system for the quads to drive the boat.
Yes.
Gene's a great man.
He is a great guy. He knows his stuff.
Yes, he does.
Yep. And we enjoyed working with him. And we've also, we have a weekend program coming up, a little bit off topic, but with Kelly Brush Foundation has been supporting us. We have a Wheel Together retreat with a dozen spinal cord injuries coming to our location in Sugarloaf. And the Kelly Brush people have been tremendous supporters of that program. That's probably all I got at the moment. So.
Thank you for sharing. Yes, absolutely. I was supposed to be at that retreat and
Okay, you were.
I'm able to make it, but not gonna be able to make it this year, but I'm really hoping in the years to come I'll be up there.
Well, come up there, then I can take you sailing at the same time.
Oh, I would love that. Awesome. Well,
Mhm.
I'll see you in Maine though, because I will be coming up in the Impossible Dream up to Maine.
Piers.
So
Oh, you will be? Okay.
I will be, yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
We also have Susie on the call from Sailability. Hi, Susie.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. Thanks for inviting us. We're a very small club in comparison and a very small boats. Our problem is we're based in Clearwater, but we're called Sailability of Tampa Bay area. Very shallow. So the Hansa sailboats are what we use generally. We have a fleet, depending, they're a little rickety, 8 to 10 boats that are small. They use a joystick, so you can either have two people that need access, or one skipper and one handicapped person. And we have a Hoyer lift that we use to get people in and out of the boats. Then we're part of the Clearwater sailing community, so they have catamarans. So on, depending how the wind is, we'll take out some of the Hansa boats. We'll take out catamarans, small catamarans, kayaks, whatever it is to get people out on the water. But I'm inspired by all you and what the programs that you've been able to build.
Hey, Susie, this is David on the Impossible Dream. We were able to come around to Tampa Bay again for a third time this past spring, and we definitely want to engage with you for next spring when we're doing programming.
Yeah, we would love that.
I know Brandon Imhoff, who's one of our guys.
Yes.
He had reached out, but he was going to be over in Spain this time of the year, so he wasn't able to gather all the same folks that he had in the past. So I'll connect with you offline, and when I get back down south, we can have a chat and figure out the best
We'd
best
love
course
to.
of action.
Brandon sails with us as well.
Yeah, he's fantastic. We love that guy.
He takes no prisoners. He goes very fast on very rough days.
No doubt. Cool. All right. Well, we'll talk to you when I'm back down there. Nice to meet you.
Okay, great. Nice to meet you. Your boat's beautiful. Looks like a wonderful opportunity for so many people.
All doing good things. Everyone on this call. Thank you guys for all being here. We have a couple other people. Hi, Fotis. How are you?
Hi, Dan. Sorry, I snuck on here about 5 minutes ago, so.
That's okay.
Interrupt.
Welcome. Well, we'll have this recorded so you can catch the first part. I'll send that to you when we're done.
Thank
But
you. Nice to meet everybody.
Have you been out sailing?
Just on the just my experience on the Impossible Dream last summer.
Okay.
As a passenger.
Yeah. Maybe we can get you back on this summer.
Yeah, before my accident, I did a little bit, but I wouldn't call myself experienced by any stretch.
Not yet. Hi, David.
Hi, guys. First off, thank you. Let's go down the list here. David, first off, Diane, thank you. David, Bradley, Tim Brown, Matt, and thank you so much. I fell in love with sailing when I was a kid. I borrowed my neighbor's Sunfish, which is about a 10-foot sailboat, and I took it out on the lake, and right before a storm, and I had that thing almost capsizing. And I remember seeing these guys in like a Coca-Cola commercial, leaning back to keep this boat from capsizing. And I leaned back, and I had this Sunfish maxed out at 10 years old. It might as well have been on crack. I mean, literally was hooked. And I sailed in Boston Harbor, West Coast, and so on. So fast forward 2010, I was paralyzed mountain biking up in Vermont. I was at Fletcher Allen in Vermont, and there was an activities coordinator that took me adaptive sailing a month and a half in, and it was fully accessible. It had all the ropes in the front, the rudder, everything, and I maxed that thing out, and it changed my life. It literally made me realize life is different, but I can still do the things I love to do. So I just want to thank everyone that's doing everything that you're doing, because it changed my life. And that was like changed my whole perception of my injury. And I've ever since everything else at kayaking and, skiing and, skydiving and all that. But what you're doing is really changing people's lives. And I do adaptive sailing in community boating in Boston, also Piers Park, and I do some racing on Wednesday nights. But I love it, and I love bringing out people that have never sailed before. And so thank you guys, everyone, for what you're doing, changing lives. And someday I'd love to be on the Impossible Dream.
Come down and see us at Crab as well, David.
So David, you just said you're based in Boston. You sail in Boston Harbor?
Yeah. So I started at community boating, but initially it was Mallett's Bay in Vermont. So that's Colchester. That's where I first tried it in 2010. And then community boating and Piers Park, I found is a lot easier to get in to schedule. They're pretty flexible. But community boating is kind of where I started. And I've raced against able-bodied people and almost beat them. Very close. Still fun. So, and this is Cheers for Chairs was a fundraiser for community boating. I pulled this out of my closet about 9 years ago. And so that was a fundraiser to raise a bunch of money for adaptive seats and sonars with the whatever 1,000-pound hull, lead weight and all that. So yeah, I love sailing. My favorite.
Are you close to Spalding? Are you close to Spalding Hospital in Boston, or is it convenient to get?
I'm
to?
like a 20-minute Uber ride. Yeah.
Okay. Let's connect offline, and I don't have our schedule in front of us, but I'd love to talk to Patrick, our program manager, and see, if you're there, we're going to be there next week. We'll figure out a spot.
I'll be there.
The morning of Diane, when is that? Is that the 29th?
29th, yeah.
The morning of the 29th at 10 a.m.
I'll be there, guys. Thanks.
All right. Yeah,
Put it in your calendar.
Hey, see you there.
There you go.
Thanks, guys.
Oh yeah, man. That's what's up.
And Kayla, is that you, Kayla? Or who's at the AOEC?
My name's McKenna. I work with Kayla.
Okay.
But
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thanks.
This is my first summer with our adaptive sailing program at the AOEC. So I'm our new outreach and program coordinator, and I've fallen in love already. I feel like once you all, get out on the water, it's hard to come back and not be out there for a while. So we do sailing every Monday and every other Thursday. And so it's a great opportunity to meet participants and to get to learn more about the sport of sailing. So I'm just excited to hear from you all. I mean, it's amazing.
Love it. Well, thank you for hopping on.
Of course. Thank you for organizing all this.
And I'm sorry I'm not going to be meeting you this weekend.
Where's your program?
Our program, we have 2 physical locations, one in Brunswick, Maine, and one in Carrabassett, Maine. But our sailing program is in Portland, and we do programming all over the state. So we work with a company called Sail Maine down in Portland.
Didn't somebody say KBF was going to be up at Sugarloaf soon?
Yes.
Did you say
by Bruce?
Bruce, are you in on that?
Yes. So he's one of our founders for the Adaptive Outdoor Education Center. So we're all hands on deck, and it's going to be a great weekend for the Wheel Together. Yeah. We're super excited.
So you have a bunch of boats that are already outfitted for quads or paras?
We currently have one boat. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that was for her. I'm sorry, I forgot your name. I can't see who's talking. Oh, yes.
Okay. We currently
Adaptive.
have one boat that's fitted, but it's able to be placed in any boat that is available for use. So it's really awesome because we can take it out and put it back in. So it makes it kind of easier to get participants in. And our program is for all ages, all abilities. So we do have individuals that are just on the autism spectrum or things like that.
Mhm.
Amazing. Well, we are getting a little past 6:30 now, so I want to be respectful of everyone's time. But thank you all for joining us. Again, this will be we recorded this and we'll be putting up on our Kelly Brush Foundation YouTube channel. But thanks again for sharing and being part of this conversation to all of you.
Thanks,
All right.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
very
you
much.
all.
You.
Appreciate it.
Have a
Bye.
great evening.
Bye now.
Later.
You guys, see you in a couple days.
See you Monday.
No, it's not off. It's still on, dude. That's what people do on Zoom. That was gross. Oh, no, hang on. We're still on. Yes.